So a warm greeting, students. I am Rekha. Today I will be explaining session 9, development of bipolarity for 6th semester BA students, contemporary world. So what do you mean by bipolarity? Bipolarity meaning we have two main countries that fights for the position in the world as the great leader. So this concept was developed after the war. So why this developed after the war? Meaning at that time there was no powerful country in the world to decide the terms. Great Britain, who was a great power, who had colonized 40% of the world colonies, is no more a major power in the world. That gap should be filled by one country, but there was a quarrel among two countries. Gradually, there was a new trend in international relations which led to the polarization of the world. The differences between the East and West were pronounced. East dominated by the countries of Soviet Union, main thing, the East, and the West was dominated by United States of America. Most of the countries in the world tried to associate themselves with either one or the other superpowers. This led to the growth of the two blocs. So the most of the countries of Africa, Asia, Europe, America, Australia, they tried to align themselves to get the benefits. They wanted to join either America or the Great Britain or the Soviet Russia. So they wanted to become the satellite countries of either America or Soviet Russia. You have to remember, students, Russia is different from Soviet Russia and Russia. So initially it was Russia. During 19 it was Russia. By 1923 it was Soviet Russia, that is USSR. Now after 1991 it is again Russia. So superpowers, there was either one or the other superpowers, which led to the growth of two blocs, that is US bloc and the Soviet bloc. By this, the political outlook of most of the countries have been in accordance with the policies of two superpowers, USA and USSR. The phenomena has been described as bipolarization, means ದ್ವಿಧ್ರುವ ಜಗತ್ತು. ಎರಡು ಧ್ರುವಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ. It's one dominating the other. So there is a political outlook. There are differences in their ideology, their policies, their phenomena has been described as the bipolarization. Bipolar system. After the Second World War, the defeated countries did not remain perpetually weak. Sotidru kuda, they were not very weak. They began to reconstruct their economies and began to regain their lost status. Mention may be made of Japan, West Germany, which began to strengthen their political status in international politics. Though they were defeated, though many of the countries joined either Russia or America, mention may be made of the Japan and West Germany, they began to strengthen their political status in the international politics. West Germany was under the influence of USA and East Germany was under the influence of USSR. They began to follow independent policy and began to develop diplomatic and commercial relations with the East European countries. So, West Germany, as it is part influenced by America, and the Eastern European countries were influenced by the Russia. Similarly, Japan emerged as a formidable industrial power, competing even with the Western countries. So, ಎರಡನೇ ಮಹಾಯುದ್ಧ ಆದ ನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ದೇಶಗಳು ತಮ್ಮ ಆರ್ಥಿಕತೆಯನ್ನು ಪುನರ್ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡೋ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಮೇಡ್, ಜಪಾನ್ ಕೂಡ ಅದರೊಳಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಶ್ರಮ ಹಾಕಿ ತಮ್ಮ ದೇಶವನ್ನು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಂಥ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಗಳು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಜಪಾನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಪಶ್ಚಿಮ ಜರ್ಮನಿ. They began to strengthen their political status in international politics. West Germany, under the influence of USA, they began to follow. Under our influence of USA, they follow an independent foreign policy. The world did not remain bipolarized for a long time as new power centers were emerging at the global level. ವರ್ಲ್ಡು ಬರೀ ಈ ಎರಡು ಕಂಟ್ರಿಗಳಷ್ಟೇ ಅಂತ ರಿಮೇನ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಟೂ ಪವರ್ಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಅದರ್ ಪವರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. there was slowly and steadily The countries were developing to compete these two rival powers, that is USA and Russia. Who are these two countries? Who are these countries ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ communist China became a great power. ಈಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ China is a very powerful country. She is having all the things to, she wants to be represented as the most powerful country after the downfall of USA. Presently she is competing the United States of America. Likewise, West Germany is also trying to build up its assertion. Japan, as it is, they built their economy, they have taken care of their economy, but they are quite sometimes they are not into war and other things, but it is again a developed nation. Japan, France, India is also emerging as a most powerful country in the due course of time. Another 40 or 50 years, India may also be a developed nation. Another 30 to 40, maybe around 40 years, I think India will be a most powerful country in the world. That is because of the youth power. So it is youths are represented. If we compare all over the world, we can say India has the more number of youth in India. So what are the criteria to decide whether a country is a powerful country or what? What are the yardsticks to be measured to say you are a most developed country? We have taken into account nuclear bombs, we have taken into account the petroleum, we have taken into account gold and per capita income, GDP, all these things. So in future, another 30-40 years, so what will be the criteria that may be taken into account? Maybe the youth power. In that case, I think India ranks there, will develop as a most powerful country. For whom should a country develop? For its own people. So India is in that sense very positive to be called as a powerful country. This led to new power centers and also contributed to the emergence of balance of power. Balance of power is very much needed. USA and USSR sought to it the balance the power in the sense number of countries aligning as a satellite countries. USA and USSR have been unable to ignore the significance of other power centers. They cannot ignore who is doing what should be known. What is America doing? What is Russia doing? Where is Russia doing? What is Russia? For example, if Russia is improving in the satellite technology, America cannot keep quiet. She also has to develop. If America develops her nuclear bombs, Russia cannot keep quiet. Russia also should have to develop the nuclear bomb. If there is any science and technology inventions which are going on, which are in progress in USA, that cannot be tolerated by USSR. They have to balance their power centers. So that's what. In this age of nuclear powers, most of the countries have been striving to enhance their nuclear strength. Coming back to this polarization of world, that one criteria to call as a developed country is having a nuclear arsenals. In that case, there were 5 permanent members with nuclear power as a nuclear power. So in the process, India could also not sit quietly. She should also say that she is also powerful. In that regard, I think in the year 1974, India tested nuclear arsenals, tested the nuclear weapons in Pokhran, Rajasthan, declared that she is the 6th leading nuclear power of the world, but that status was not given by UNO because disarmament was signed that those who have tested before 1964 are considered to be the nuclear powers and not after 1964. India tested our arsenals in 1974. That was the reason we were called as a rogue country but not a nuclear country. So they put economic blockade on India. Somehow Israel and Russia helped during that particular time. Once again during the time of Vajpayee in 1998, again the nuclear weapons was tested to say that India is not lagging behind, and also no first use. She only attacks if somebody else do that. So naturally, the monopoly of the superpowers in nuclear has been shattered. It's no more a nuclear power monopoly of these 5 countries. It is shattered with Britain, France, China. They're all nuclear power. Apart from that, India possesses nuclear weapons. Israel possesses nuclear weapons. North Korea possesses nuclear weapons. Iran is also testing her weapons. So America will always attack those countries in the name of disarmament from UNO. She represents UNO. Likewise, Germany and Japan, India have not left behind in gaining nuclear capabilities. Even though Japan was bombarded Hiroshima, Nagasaki, still she have her nuclear arsenals. So China, communist country, she also possesses. Hence, this ideology is not the one which is guiding the international relation. Bipolarization witnessed many changes, not exactly one area, it has seen many changes. Even Eastern European countries, which are regarded as the satellite states, have been showing signs of following independent policy by defiance towards Soviet domination. It's not that East European countries are keeping quiet. East European countries, no doubt, were dominated by Soviet Russia, but still they were also developing their own policies. And Yugoslavia, though remained as a non-allied country for some years, she came out of the non-alignment and she was in her way of building her nation. Both the superpowers have used all means except force to win over the more common allies. Non-communist world is openly demanding the Soviet control over Comecon and Warsaw Pact. So they don't like this war.